So here's a statement that's going to make a lot of people very angry. You know that Dylan Mulvaney ad, the one with Bud Light that was really famous? Well, that's probably the most successful ad of the 21st century. And the reason I say that is because it did the one job that an advertisement is supposed to do. It got a ton of attention. But here's the problem. Getting attention is not all there is to marketing. And in this video, I'm going to show you how a lot of businesses waste tons of money thinking that advertising is the whole game, but it's not. Hello and welcome to the Kanawha Valley Hustlers. This is Joe Justice, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between marketing and advertising. And the simple fact of the matter is, so many of the people that I talk to, especially in Appalachia, they just don't know the difference. They think that when you talk about marketing, for example, that you're talking about billboards, you're talking about influencers, you're talking about TV ads or radio ads or flyers or things like that. That is not marketing. That is advertising. And they're not the same thing. The way that you measure whether or not an advertisement is successful is whether or not it gets attention. That's it. There's no more to it than that. Don't put any other metrics on it. Did it get attention? Did you get 1,000 eyeballs? Did you get 2,000 eyeballs? Did you get 1,000,000 eyeballs? That's all there is to it. That's what advertising is. And you have to separate that from the marketing. Let's talk about the Dylan Mulvaney case. Obviously, it got tons of attention, and you had people all over the internet and beyond making fun of it, mocking it. You had Kid Rock was out there shooting Bud Light cans. I mean, it absolutely went viral. So, was it a good ad? Yeah, it was a great ad. So what was the problem? Where did things fall apart? It fell apart because it was a mismatch in marketing, okay? So the brand that has been developed over time with Bud Light did not match the messaging that was happening in the advertisement. I'm not entirely sure who the audience for that advertisement was. There's lots of speculation on that and what was in the minds of the people who made that advertisement. But the bottom line is the audience was not the one that had been built over decades and decades by Bud Light. And that's where the problem is. So, was it good advertising? Yes. Is it good marketing? No. And it's really important to understand this distinction. These are the types of things. And as soon as I say this, people on one side will say Dylan Mulvaney's terrible, and people on the other side are going to say that, no, Dylan Mulvaney's great. And there's going to be arguments over that, but that is not in any way the point that I'm making. Let me give you an even simpler framework for this. If I'm selling sports bras, does it make sense to advertise them in a men's magazine? Of course not. And in the same way, if I'm advertising for what has been built up as a brand primarily for young men, it's got this kind of energy around kind of a frat party, kind of a feel, let's go to the beach with all of the guys, let's hang out, let's get drunk, all of the kinds of things that plenty of people will say is bad to promote or is, negative, womanizing and all this other type of stuff. There's a market for that kind of thing. And I'm not making the judgment, and that's the thing I really want to drill down on this before you start coming at me in the comments and yelling and screaming at me, Bud Light's a terrible brand, or Bud Light's amazing, and they threw it, whatever you're saying, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the virtues of Bud Light, and I'm not talking about the virtues of Dylan Mulvaney. I'm talking about the mismatch between the brand and the audience. You can't build a brand for decades around this frat party, young male, having fun on the weekends, going to the beach, and throw that over to whatever the other audience is. Like I say, I don't really even understand what the audience is. I'm sure there's an audience out there for that, but it's not the Bud Light audience. So whenever you do that, there's a mismatch between the ad and the marketing. So when we talk about this, people always kind of push back and they don't understand that marketing and advertising isn't the same. They're not the same thing. Hey, so real quick, if you're looking to get more attention in your business in 2026 and you're a little curious how I help Appalachian businesses get that attention, you can give me a call or shoot me a text anytime at 304-853-5522, and I will be happy to go through all those messages and answer you directly. Just send me a message, 304-853-5522, and let's get back to it. And I have this conversation constantly with people because they talk about their ads. They want to show me their ads. Is this ad good? Is that ad good? It doesn't work that way. Does your ad align? And well, whether or not it aligns even isn't even really the issue at play here. Does your ad get attention? That's the only question you should ask about the ad first. That's it. Does it get attention? Does this placement get attention? Does this format get attention? Does this approach get attention? Do your flyers get attention? Do your newsletters get attention? Does your email get attention? Does your social media influencer campaign, does it get attention? That's all you should be asking about the ads. Then the marketing should inform the ad and the overall messaging. So what is marketing then? Let's talk about what that is and help define it a little bit. Marketing is your messaging. It's your offers, everything from your pricing to your deliverables. It's your mission statement. It's your branding, your colors, your attitude. You know, or again, going back to Bud Light, you see that can, you see that logo, you know exactly what that is. In the same way, now, this is literally true. If in the same way they started associating their brand with colors, if all of a sudden they had a red can, it would confuse people. And they could produce millions of red cans and say, you know, Bud Light, and people are going to think, well, that must be Budweiser, or that must be Coca-Cola, that must be some other thing, because the brand's in misalignment. It's the exact same thing that happened with Dylan Mulvaney. It wasn't necessarily the advertising. It's not that the color red is wrong. It's not that the color red doesn't work. I mean, there's lots of brands with the color red. There's nothing wrong with using the color red in branding. There's nothing wrong with using Dylan Mulvaney in an advertisement. There's nothing wrong with any of these things if everything aligns. If you've got a Christian brand, if you've got like a strong faith-based Christian brand, and you partner with somebody and you partner with Hugh Hefner, which I know he's passed away, but you get my point. If you partner with Hugh Hefner and you've got a Christian aligned brand, you're going to get static. You're going to get haters. You're going to get negative feedback. So whenever you're putting together your overall campaigning, whenever you're putting together where are you going to spend, where are you going to allocate your advertising dollars, make sure you separate that marketing from the advertising. What you pay for advertising is attention, first and foremost. The marketing takes a lot more work and there's a lot more to it. What's the audience that you speak to? What do they do? What are they most likely to associate with? What are they going to be attracted to? What problems do you solve? What's your offer? How much does it cost? Price point wise. What are the actual deliverables? What's the result that they get out of it? And every step of that, from your sales reps and what they say in objection responses to your advertising and your branding, should be informed by all of those different levels. So moving forward, as you're making your plans, remember, advertising is not marketing. Advertising is getting attention. Marketing is the process of turning that attention into buying customers. And there's a lot more to it than just your colors, who you talk to, whether it's billboards or Facebook, YouTube, whatever those sources of advertising are. That's not going to be what converts. That's not going to be what changes attention into cash. What does that is going to be the marketing, and marketing takes a little bit more work. I hope you found this helpful today. If you have any questions, drop me a comment, send me a message. This is Joe Justice, the Kanawha Valley Hustler, reminding you to hustle hard, hustle smart, and hustle with a smile.